Welcome to the Nerd Powwow. Follow us on YouTube where we upload new videos every Friday, or check us out on your favorite podcast platform. Spoiler warning, we do deep dives on characters, storylines, and theory crafting. With that said, Wayne, what are we talking about today?
I'm glad you asked, Seraph. Thunder. 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 ThunderCats. Ho! That's what we're going to talk about.
All right.
ThunderCats.
We are talking the ThunderCats. And we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on Lion-O. And learn a little bit more about the characters. Sounds good.
All right, so just to start it off, ThunderCats came out in the height of my cartoon obsession, I guess you could say. So that was one of the hot things that I liked, that and Silverhawks. So my dad used to get me the Lion-O, all the ThunderCat figures. And I remember one day we went to church, and I took my mum-ra with me. So as we're walking out of church, the father stops me. It's like, Wayne, I don't think he's having a very good Christmas. And that's like, my dad always loved telling that story. So yeah, I have all the ThunderCat figures from back then. I mean, they're missing arms, legs, heads.
Oh yeah,
I played with them big time.
As it goes.
Yeah. So what about you guys? What do you remember about ThunderCats?
Yeah. John or Maury Bain, I'll let you go first, buddy.
Again, it was growing up, it was a staple, along with, like you said, the Silverhawks and Tiger Sharks, same production company. They were all the same voice actors, same production companies. It was just a whole lineup of good shows. I think my favorite part of the thing was there's, unlike a lot of these of shows of the era, these guys were very, the team seemed a little more cohesive than a lot of other teams. There's almost like a family unit feel to them, which I really enjoyed. I think it helped you bond with the characters a little better. I think they did a better job with that in the original series versus the 2011 series. 2011 kind of fouled my, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but it was just not what it was. I felt like they took some liberties with characters that took them away from the core of their being. Originally, I just loved it. And one thing I gotta say is that if they ever make a live action, I know he's getting up there a little bit, but Ving Rhames as Panthro. I don't know how you cast anybody else.
There you go.
The guy kind of looks like Panthro, and I think he should just and bald Panthro, not stupid Picard hairdo Panthro that they had in 2011.
Yeah,
like I don't know. The original was kind of a hard ass, not the he was instead of the whatever they did with that wishy-washy guy in 2011. But yeah, I enjoyed the series a lot growing up. It was pretty great. How about you, John?
Yeah, so I had a lot of experience with the action figures and stuff like that because I got a lot of my brother's hand-me-downs and whatnot, right? So I knew more of the action figures. I didn't even know a lot of the characters' names when I was a kid. I just had the action figures. I liked Panthro, and I remember watching the show. I remember Snarf. He stood out to me. I loved him. Like, of all characters, to be like, yeah, that's my favorite. But Snarf. But so I remember the show fondly. Going back, watching it as an adult, I feel it's aged a little bit. I don't have as quite as strong as the nostalgia bond to the IP that some people have, because I didn't really directly interact with it that much. But that said, I do find the characters interesting. I like Lion-O and some of the dynamics with him and his journey of figuring himself out as a leader. I didn't even know about the 2011 anime, so I watched a couple episodes of that. I could see some people who are fans of the original not liking that 2011 one, but not being somebody who's got those nostalgia glasses, I thought the 2011 one was fine. Seemed okay.
Yeah, because I rewatched that years later, and the first two episodes were one big episode that started off. I was like, this is actually pretty darn good. I mean, they had a little different with Tiger and Lion-O being brothers, Mum-Ra making an appearance in the first episode when the original series had him not making an appearance till Third Earth. But it's fine. I really enjoyed it. They did a nice job. They told a nice story, a different story.
Yeah, yeah. And there are a lot of times where they take a sequel in a different direction, tell a different story, and the one that stands out to me is the Trigun. They did the Trigun in 1985 or 1995, I think, and then they did the Trigun Stampede recently, which they used 3D animation. They changed the story around a lot. The characters weren't all the same original ones, and they really swapped a lot of pieces here and there, but they still told a really good story. And but both, I can see kind of a parallel where it's like, yeah, everything is a little bit different, but that's okay because this isn't the same story. You liked the characters, and we're going to give you more of these characters just with a different package.
It's almost like a different multiverse to bring the Marvel toy things in a parallel Earth of some type.
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing the reason that not as positive, and I haven't watched it in years, the 2011 series. I just remember watching it back then. But I think Panthro was always kind of like, I really liked Panthro, and I really felt like it just wasn't Panthro. And I think that's part of the thing. It was just like every time you come on the screen, I'm like, oh, I don't know who this guy is, but it's not my Panthro. So, that's something you mentioned. Snarf. That's something that these the cartoons at the times, there was always that kind of clutch comedic relief cutesy character. You had your Snarf, you had your Orko, from He-Man. You had all these different things. Even things like Space Ghost had Gleep, which with the twins, and it seemed like there was a small little comedic creature in every type of superhero or fantasy or science fiction cartoon of that time.
I'm sure that's echoes from the Flintstones. It has to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had it too. Yeah,
it's 11.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's funny.
It seemed like a thing.
Yeah.
In the second season, now the first season of ThunderCats was about 75 episodes, but once they made it to the second season, they brought in brand new characters and new Snarfs. Because Snarf actually came from the planet of Snarfs. And then the second season, they brought in Snarfer. But there was also Egbert. There was Oswald Snarf. There was a female Snarf. And they eventually came down to New Third Earth. Because that was Third Earth. They had to leave Third Earth and went to New Third Earth at some point during the second season. So the poor ThunderCats just had to keep moving.
Sometimes it just
what's funny
suck,
about
man.
What's funny about Snarf is prepping for the episode here this week, I was reading about him a little bit, and I never realized as a kid that he was supposed to be reptilian and feline. I took him as whatever, but I never got the reptile part. I mean, I can see it now with the center line here, like on the underside of a snake or a lizard has that ribbing, but I just read that. I was like, oh, I didn't realize he was supposed to be reptilian.
Yeah, because he really doesn't have any reptilian attributes. I mean,
no.
He stands on his tail.
Yeah, he's more
a reptilian thing.
Definitely more a cat. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, some reptiles, I guess. Yeah, but
yeah,
it's kind of funny that they're all named Snarf or some variation of Snarf too.
Snarfer.
The worst way to keep track of your people.
Yeah, it's the George Foreman race. George 1, George 2.
I think even to this day with Lion-O, you go through the episode and all of a sudden he's going to call the ThunderCats. So every time he brings out the Sword of Omens, thunder, 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 get chills. It just still even to this day.
Rallying the team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because there's outtakes from the original series that are really fantastic. And one of them, he's doing the thunder, and he's just like thunder, 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 and he gets his voice cracks, and he goes way too high pitch. He's like, too high. And it's funny because they animated these outtakes, so you can actually watch it like the cartoon, and the character speaking the outtakes, and some of the outtakes are just fantastic. So maybe we'll insert them here some point in time in the clip, but they're worth a watch. They're really pretty great, and that the goof up on the ThunderCats starts it right off and pretty funny.
Yeah, talking about like the outtakes, some of the actors I know. We have the Lion-O voiced by Larry Kennedy. He also voiced Jackalman, I believe, on the series as well, and a couple other characters.
Yep.
But I didn't really recognize him in too many other voice roles. Did you guys really know him from anything else?
No, I can't say that I did.
Well, I do, but just stuff of that production company, because he was some of the primary voices in both Silverhawks and Tiger Sharks. So that whole grouping was I don't know if he did a lot out of that, but that was that grouping of shows was his claim to fame. That's where he's most well known for.
That's fair. His voice just reminds me, like, it just sounds like default announcer's voice. Like,
it really does.
Hello, guys. We're going to talk about how drugs are bad.
Yeah, he does have that kind of exactly that.
Yeah, like just cheesy, positive announcer guy.
And it looks like those are the big things that he did. I was taking a quick glance, and he did some other neat. He's still voice acting.
Oh wow.
He was a voice actor for several characters, lesser characters, not the main characters, in Teen Titans Go, Pokemon the series. He's up for the Red Dead Online. So he's definitely been in Red Dead 2. Yeah, he's still active.
How old is he now? Does it say?
Well, he's born in 1947, so
okay, he's up there. That's impressive. He's still going after all these years.
He's not that bad. He's actually fairly young. He's only going to be 70. Or no, wait, that can't be right. He's going to be 80. He's going to be 80. So yeah.
So he would have been about 40.
2 years.
38, 40 when ThunderCats came out.
Yeah, he's 40 years old. But yeah, he was
same voice.
That was his claiming. It looks like he started when he was 15 as a disc jockey. So it was that seems
seems very appropriate.
I think so. It was very appropriate. But yeah, I liked his voice. I thought actually voice acting in a lot of this series was pretty good. I'm a big fan of Panthro, the original Panthro's voice.
Oh yeah. He passed away, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe so too. But I don't know. It's like I said, I just always imagined him being played by Ving Rhames. I don't know. You could just picture the two. Something similar about them. The body build, the stature, everything about him kind of has that thing to me. So hopefully, maybe someday we'll see it. I don't know what I'm trying to
think of
the name. So
yeah, maybe what about villains? Do you guys remember the villains? Do you have any favorite villains?
Oh yeah. So Slythe was always my favorite villain. I remember Slythe as a kid. I was like, I know that guy. He pops on the screen. I'm like, that guy. Okay.
Slythe.
I mean, obviously, Earl Hyman was the name of the voice for Panthro. He was born in 1926, so he was already 60 years old, and when the original series came out. But favorite characters. I mean, Hyena Man was always kind of annoying, but just because he was that like mousy whatever. I mean, Mumra himself, I liked the duality of Mumra. I think he was a little bit deeper than your typical character, even a little bit more depth to him than IP competitors like He-Man, like Skeletor. The original Skeletor was kind of two-dimensional. Most of He-Man originally, I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, was fairly two-dimensional. Whereas ThunderCats dove into the characters a little bit deeper. There was some history, some lore. Later on, He-Man kind of caught up on that, but I kind of enjoyed that about Mumra and his transformation and what he did. It was almost like the reverse. You had the bad guy being able to power up versus the He-Man where the hero powers up. So it was almost a flip of it or mirroring of it.
There were fewer episodes with the evil or the spirits of evil who punished Mumra for not destroying the ThunderCats.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple episodes like that were so the people giving Mumra his power, like, yeah, you're not doing your job. We're not giving you power anymore. You're just going to suffer as a weak mummy. So I always liked episodes like that. Monkey and Vulture Man.
Yep.
Vulture Man was always the intelligent one. He was making all the different contraptions and
Yeah.
and then Slife is one of the better ones. Rotoro was always pretty good.
What?
Rotoro seemed to be the one that was always closest to defeating the ThunderCats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I called him Jackal. I called him Hyena Man. It's Jackal.
Oh, Jackal Man. Yeah, Jackal.
Yeah. I miscalled him, but yeah, he was always that like skittish little annoying. He seemed like he was like the punching boy for the ThunderCats often enough.
Yeah, I remember having the Mumra action figure. I thought that thing was cool as hell. It was always my favorite. Yeah. It's so cool.
Because it was when he was all powered up.
Yeah.
And obviously they made the weakling one, but yeah, the powered up one was the one I mentioned earlier of the father at the church. It's like, oh, he's not having a very good Christmas, is he? It's just Mumra.
I didn't.
The Lunatics came in the second season, and they put a wallop on him from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I think they serioused up the original villains in the first season. They really didn't offer any threat. Mumra himself was powerful, but his henchmen were pretty lightweight. And I didn't collect the figurines. I'm a big figurine guy, which is funny, but this was late 80s, so I was a little bit further on than you guys were with the in age, so I would have wasn't collecting those kind of figures at that point in time.
Yep.
So
I've got multiple Lion-O's, multiple Mumras, because I just kept breaking them. They fight.
They fight. The obligation, you have to crash them into each other.
They use their arms and punch each other, and they fight. So they break.
I wonder how many toys they sold with those Burble robot Ewok creatures.
The Burbles. The Burble Village. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, disturbing stuff.
Speaking of the parallels with He-Man and ThunderCats stuff, in 2016 that there was a DC comic line that had a crossover between the two. ThunderCats and He-Man.
But I've never read it.
I didn't read it. Yeah, I'd like to read it myself. I have not read it myself. I have several access to Marvel Comics with Marvel Unlimited, etc., but I don't have a DC. And I used to have DC Unlimited, but they kind of got rid of it. It's become more of a show channel, and it's just different. It's at HBO. I think it went from DC Unlimited to HBO Max, and now it's just Max.
Yeah.
But originally, that was you could read comics and watch all the shows, and everything. It was really great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way it was at the original, and then they got rid of the entire comic side of it, other than the shows.
Yep.
So unfortunately,
I had a little bit while it was like that before, but yep, it is what it is. Streaming services, man, I'll tell you what, they're making piracy look nice.
Yeah, I like these people that are all like, cut the wire, cut the cable, and they cancel their cable and then spend more on streaming services than they ever would for.
Really,
but I do it too. I mean, I'm guilty of it. But the biggest difference is to me is I enjoy shows, but I refuse to schedule my life around television times. So 3:00 in the morning, I'm up playing a game or whatever. I can stream something at my leisure and timing or whatever. It's much better than it was. That's the freedom of it is the value to me. But yeah, I have to go back and watch the ThunderCats. I unfortunately have had a busy week and didn't get a chance to watch some of them. I kind of wanted to watch some of the old ones, but just talking about them is really firing up a nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Thing in me
I was talking to. There's ThunderCats Roar that came out in 2020.
Oh god!
It's a 5 cartoon episode series, and I don't know if it's good or not because I couldn't get over the bad graphics. I mean,
it's
that was horrible. Someone that actually draw that, put it out there, throw that as ThunderCats.
It looks like corporate animation meets like baby animation. Like it's just so bad. So bad.
I think they were trying to capture the Teen Titans Go vibe but even that animation is as cartoonish as it was, and obviously animation is always cartoonish, but it was very like exaggerated cartoony.
Yeah, it was definitely a cartoon, but it even had a little bit of better. Like a I don't want to say sophisticated, but it presented a lot better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was, to me, it almost felt like Teen Titans Go almost had a feeling of, to me, like it was Western animation trying to mimic Eastern animation, like anime, because like you remember like a Cyborg's face, he'd always overexpression him, and he'd have his mouth wide open like this big, and there'd be a little spittle going around. That's such an anime classic.
Oh yeah,
with the mouth opening wide up too much, so that I think, and I don't really know where Teen Titans Go was animated. It could have been Eastern animation. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but it definitely had a feeling of like that. I have a feeling that the Thundercats Roar was trying to catch into that, but they did it in just a too juvenile fashion. It was closer to Powerpuff Girls than it was anything of worth. It was like so yeah, unfortunately, that was kind of a bust.
Yeah, but man, Lion-O, adult in a child's body.
Yeah, and he was the same age as Wile E. Kit and Cat when they left Thundera. But something happened with his pod. That was why he aged.
They really don't address it. Like they said before, to try and like set it up in a way like, oh, you will age, but it'll be a lot slower. But then like he's the only one who noticeably ages, and maybe like Cheetar or like it's one of those things.
None of them.
None of them at all. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just him. Yeah,
just Lion-O. And it's like, oh man, he just kind of glazed over losing like 12 years of his life. Didn't show any remorse or like being upset about that. He's like, okay, I guess I'm the leader of the Thundercats in an adult body now.
But they did do a good job in the first few episodes. He still was a child.
Yeah.
So all those growing up years. I mean,
he's supposed to be like 14 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They show him being, emotionally immature, like a teenager, and like running into situations he really doesn't need to, and be as aggressive about, and that type of a thing. So
that's always good.
I think that. Go ahead.
Oh, they treated him like the king that he is, the Lord of the Thundercats, even if he was his 14-year-old kid. And, he'd flash his sword, Thundercats ho. They'd come run into his aid. Yeah, might give him a little. Well, you should have done it this way. You can't just run into battle like that. But they always came to his aid, no matter what. No matter what they're doing, where they're at.
They played the role of advisors a bit, which, as they should, any good court. You know what? That's a good way of putting it, is they were more like his court.
Yeah.
There was almost like the Knights of the King Lion-O type feeling to it. I guess that's something that I didn't really think of before. And going back to Wile E. Kit and Wile E. Cat, those two were quite literally, to me, feral cats.
They were.
They were just based off of, these other cats were all domesticated in some way. I mean, like Lion-O was raised to be royalty. That's why he was above. He was, he was being groomed. So at 14, he had a maturity that others wouldn't, as he was being groomed and trained and, being raised like that. Even Tigra, even he had that kind of. He had what you call the advisor to the king that teaches them how to fight. Between Panthro and Tigra, I felt like they were like his teachers in a way, even though they were peers age-wise. I just felt like they filled those roles.
Even though it seemed like Panthro was much older than them, but I don't know if he really was. He just seemed like he was.
He felt older for sure.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he felt a little more like grizzled and experienced, and like he'd seen some things that they hadn't yet. I think they tried to capture that. Part of what they tried to do in 2011 was really focus on that. And but I always felt like that in the original, even though
even in the 2011 with Wile E. Kit and Cat, they basically they did start as feral cats, and they just kind of, hey, we're going to follow you.
Yeah.
No, we're not babysitting. Well, we're walking this way anyways, and sure enough, they stuck with them. But
Yep.
yeah, they did portray them as feral cats.
Yeah, it's exactly what they were. You know who they always reminded me of, and I'm gonna cheat and look it up. I can't remember which one he was in. Final Fantasy VI. They always reminded me of Gao. Do you remember the feral kid in Final Fantasy VI? He's kind of a. Six was the Yeah, Final Fantasy VI is the one with Edgar the king that could use the tools.
Yeah,
his brother
I
that
think
didn't want anything. But there was a wild child in the things, and he always reminded me of, I don't know, just even the way they drew him in the classic Final Fantasy fashion when they do the art for the cover and stuff. Just reminded me of, it's GAU. He just has that.
Yeah.
He just has the same look. He always reminded me of Wile E. Kit and Wile E. Cat. I don't know. Just as a kid, I guess that really kind of struck me as a similarity.
Yeah, the 2, 3, 5, and 6 for Final Fantasy, like, I have no idea which one each one is. It's they made it confusing in that little section of the games.
Yeah. Well, they were numbered differently over in Japan than they were here.
Yeah.
Because there were games released there that weren't released here. So 6 was the last one of the really like the chibi look characters before Final Fantasy 7. That got into a little bit
once they got the PlayStation graphics instead of the 32-bit graphics.
Yeah. Yeah, but I 6 is one of my favorites. It's just I liked how diversified the classes were. I mean, everybody was different, and they had weird roles. It was closer to my brain's going to betray me here, but there's another video game I'll think of here in a second that the way the characters are so diversified really fit more like 6 than in any of the other games. Now I'm going to have to look up and see what the heck that game is. There's one, Octopath Traveler.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever played any of the Octopath Traveler games. They're fantastic games. If you haven't, make the time. They're great games. But but Final Fantasy VI had the same kind of vibe where the characters were distinctly different power sets. It wasn't like wizard, warrior, thief, whatever. It wasn't like that. It was, the characters were more in tune to a personality with their abilities.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Well, speaking about abilities, we got quite a few abilities showcased in ThunderCats. We have Chitara, who is super fast. We have the
Tigra.
Tigra
goes invisible.
We got the feral twins. They're really tricky. That's their thing. Like, they're scrappy little guys,
Panthro's just a man amongst boys. He can build anything. He can fix anything. And he's just tough as nails.
Yep.
And he's physically the strongest.
Yeah.
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 And then they brought in the second season, they brought in Primera, Bengali, and Linkso. I remember Linkso was blind. He got acid splashed on his face, but it enhanced his other senses. So he could actually see without his eyes. As far as Bengali,
he was a cool character. I liked his character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when in the second season, when they go to New Thundera, well, they stole the Tower of Omens and the Cat's Lair. Well, they leave Tigra and Primera behind. One's watching this building, another's watching this building, and everyone else just leaves. Like, I remember thinking about that even as a kid. It's like, why'd they leave them alone? Because the Tower of Omens and the Cat's Lair were nowhere near each other. They were distance away, so it's not like you just go and hang out with each other. They were by themselves. And I was like, that's not nice to do.
That's not nice to do. And I remember Linkso's hearing was supposed to be, he was always hearing kind of things too. He had that kind of thing.
Now, I don't know if you noticed in the 2011 first 2 episodes, they had Linkso in there, and he was already blind.
Oh,
so that was another.
Did they have his headband was across his eyes in the 2011, right? Yeah.
I
I think I don't.
I can't remember. I thought they had whited out eye, so it was Peopleston's show. The show that he was blind.
Maybe he did. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Like,
I do remember in the
I don't
2011
remember.
he was already blind, which in the original series they actually show him getting splashed in the face when Thundera was dying, being destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pumaira and Bengali, they were pretty good characters. I enjoyed them.
And then of course
You're
we have
right, he
Lionel,
had-
right?
Lionel himself.
Yeah, Lionel himself. His key features. He's a brave leader, right? He's out there to defend his people, his tribe, and he calls upon help when he needs it. And he learned that valuable lesson in the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's a forward leader, which is another thing that's unusual. He's the one going out and looking for trouble, like so to speak. But he's the one. He goes out there and he's almost policing, and then calls in reinforcements, which is just a very active role for the leader of a people to take. A lot of times it's the leader everyone wants to protect the leader. This is where it steps apart from the typical king role that his royalty. He's not your typical royalty that's sitting back.
Well, with that, I mean, he is a kid, so kids are typically driven by emotion, and his emotion drives him to take these patrols and do these things that might not be the best way to lead his people, but that's where he's at right now in his life, so that's what he's doing.
Something like that introduced me to one of my favorite other characters in ThunderCats was with Snowman, and he had his tiger, Snow Meow. I would love Snow Meow. Snow Meow, Snow Meow. Lionel got basically frozen, and Snowman found him and fought him out. And Snowman made different appearances throughout the series, and I always liked him. He was a pretty cool character, and Snow Meow. He always called for his tiger.
You just made me. I don't know what made me think of it. I think because it played a part of that episode. What was the name of Lionel's glove? Because he had that glove that had abilities too.
Yeah, because he'd be able to shoot like a grappling hook out of it. Yeah, and I think he was able to use it as a shield.
Yeah, the main thing was a shield, but what was that called?
Oh, the power of Google.
The metal lion's claw.
Metal lion's claw.
The glove shield. Yeah, he'd wear it on his arm. Because I always liked that
shield
too. Just had that. Yeah, I was kind of taking a quick.
It's like a gauntlet / shield thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I remember he saved himself quite a bit when he was falling, and there was a grappling hook in it.
Yeah.
And then, that's where he stored his sword too, when it was a baby sword.
Yeah, he put it in. He
pulled it out,
built-in sheath for the sword. Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. I'm looking at. I wanted to see. I don't remember the snow guy as very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Oh, Snowman.
Snow Meow and Snowman. Yeah,
that's right. He was kind of Yeti-like.
Yes.
He was kind of Yeti-like. That's right. I remember him now. Yeah.
And, you mentioned the Burbles. The Burbles were in quite a few episodes.
Yeah. Got the Burbles. Making everything.
And there was also the Warrior Maidens. They made a few appearances. They were kind of like the tribal women that lived in the trees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sight beyond sight.
Sight beyond sight.
That's an ability. Yeah, look into the future, see what you're supposed to see. Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's cool.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight.
What else does the Sword of Omens do for him? Is there any other notable powers that it gives him? I know it's like that stone's really important to the ThunderCats, right?
Because he is able to shoot out like a laser out of it.
Yeah.
And then when Mum-Ra shoots him, he's able to protect himself with the Sword of Omens, the stone inside.
Yeah, it seemed to have convenient abilities when it was needed a lot of times.
Yeah, it really did.
Versus a list of So
powers as needed.
Yeah, powers as needed. It was very convenient abilities that would have. The Eye of Thundera, that was the name of the stone.
The Eye of Thunder.
It was embedded in its hilt. Yep. The all-seeing, all-powerful galactic universal energy force. So, if you're gonna have a convenient power source, that's the one. All-seeing, all-knowing power source.
I'll tell you what. For having a stone that important, Lion-O drops that sword way too many times.
Oh no!
There was
Actually, was there an episode where it got cracked?
Yes, yeah, the Sword of Moments broke.
Yep,
sure did. And then there was an episode where Mumra was able to turn Lion-O against his other fellow Thundercats, but the Sword of Omens wouldn't work because it's meant for good.
Yep.
I think there was even an episode where Mumra got a hold of it and he was trying to hurt the other Thundercats with it, and it wouldn't work.
And that was Mumra's pretty much his obsession, was the Sword of Omens. That's what he was obsessing over.
Because of the Eye of Thundera, he wanted, and just like the 2011 series, he made a big issue about getting the Book of Omens, but he wanted the sword for the Eye of Thundera. Because in 2011, it said he used to have the Eye of Thundera, and then the Thundercats got it back. And I'm sure they explain that as the series goes on, but I've only made it a short way through the second time watching it.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's been colored by my childhood memories rather than modern ones, so it'll be an interesting little walk down memory lane when I'm watching them again.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, if any of our listeners want to throw out some comments and everything, fill in the blanks for us, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Even if you have suggestions for other IPs to look into, we may look into that as well.
The Thundercats is
for sure
so huge of a universe. I mean, there was about 100 episodes that first original series.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised there hasn't been a live action or a remake of that in a come across it. It's such a huge IP.
Yeah. And it's looked upon so fondly.
Yeah, I've heard of it supposedly being made. The guy who made Godzilla versus Kong is supposedly working on a movie with it, but it's just such little bit of information out there. I just haven't heard about it, and I hope that the information isn't because it's not going well. I hope they're just kind of keeping a lid on it. But
for sure.
I think they make a mistake not hyping those movies. I think that's a mistake. People need to remember, let the nostalgia come out, let people go watch the old episodes. People just get fired up again instead of it being just, and all of a sudden here's this memory and go see the movie, and I just rather see it get built up a little bit.
Yeah. Depending how a live action Thundercats would be, you could also maybe go with the Silverhawks, and I'm not sure how you could do a Tiger Shark live action, but I'm sure they could try. I mean,
it'd be the Aquaman.
Everything would have to be underwater.
I think the best we're gonna get is Jeff the Shark in the MCU.
I like Jeff the Shark.
I like Jeff the Shark too.
There's been a lot of people are fan casting. I don't know if there's any legitimacy about it, but it's fan casting. Everybody fan casts Cavill as Lion-O.
Oh, he'd be perfect. He'd be perfect for that. He really would.
Yeah.
Or the guy who plays Jack Reacher.
Oh, yeah.
Physically, I like the guy who plays Jack Reacher. I don't know that he's got the personality for it.
Okay.
I could actually see that guy doing Panthro.
Yeah.
Kind of quiet.
He does have more of a quiet, matter of the fact kind of personality.
Yep.
Yeah, I do agree.
Have you guys seen the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare?
No.
You should watch it. It's actually based on on some of Churchill's private notes being released. He had a Black Ops kind of group of the most unruly criminal specialists in the military. Like, literally, the leader was in military prison when they pulled him out to pull stuff. but it's Henry Cavill and what is the Jack Reacher guy's name? I can't think of his name offhand.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah, Alan Richardson. That's it. Yep. Yeah, Alan Richardson.
Yeah.
But those two act together. They're two of the team.
Hey, if they're already working together.
Yeah, and they work. They work really well together. I really liked the teaming. That's a great show. You guys should watch that. Absolutely fantastic show. It cracked me up. I just watched it earlier this week. But yeah, so him as Lionel would be great to me. Chitara, I don't know who we got for Chitara. Who's a good casting for Chitara? I know it's
yeah. I mean, yeah. There's
Scarlett Johansson.
There's so many.
What's that?
That was
Scarlett Johansson.
That's not a bad one. Yeah,
I was thinking about Florence Pugh. Is that how you say her name? She played Black Widow's sister in Black Widow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she would make a very good one too.
Yep. I always think of Tara being kind of lanky and agile.
Okay. Yeah.
So those two, where they're both agile but they're more hand to hand built to me. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
For roles that are. So I always think of like a speedster. I think of Chitara as a speedster, so I think of her as this like a runner's thin, agile kind of thing. So I'm not pulling. I mean, maybe I don't know if she's too comedic for it or not, but the girl who plays Harley Quinn.
Oh, Margot Robbie.
Yeah,
Margot Robbie. She might be able to pull something like that off. Oh, you know who could pull it off? You just have to change her up. Is Gal Gadot.
I can see that.
Okay.
Wonder Woman, right?
A role for her. Yeah. She would. I think she'd be good. I mean, obviously, physically, like the hair. I mean, so what if she has brown hair versus blonde hair? But it isn't like that. Couldn't be fixed. But she has that. I could just think of it. I'm thinking of the Wonder Woman scenes when she's running and moving. You just speed that up a little bit. It could be kind of cool too. And obviously, I'm going to keep pumping I mean, I don't know how old Ving Rhames is now, but I still think he'd be great as Panthro.
Well, we're talking
the voice and everything.
We're talking about making this ThunderCats movie, but man, I remember that Cats theater movie that they put out, the musical Cats recently, and how they made their realistic human cat looking people. And I don't know, maybe we're flying too close to the sun, boys. Just saying.
They all look kind of like Tigra in the Cats. I haven't seen the movie thing, but I've seen Cats on stage, and they all kind of look like Tigra. They had that look. That's funny. But yeah, I think it'd be fun if they did it right. I think it would be.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It could be really good.
Even a CGI movie or something like that would be fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be live action. It could be live-ish action.
Live-ish action.
Yeah, live-ish. So this thing I was reading has Naomi Scott as Chitara.
Okay.
She played in the live-action Aladdin.
Yep, and then she's in Smile too.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of the horror movies, but yeah, she's in the Smile. But they're talking about. I don't know where this casting comes from, so I don't know the legitimacy of it. So, but they were talking about that. Talking about Sebastian Stan as Tigra. Him and Cavill working off each other would be kind of cool. But Terry Crews as Panthro which cracks me up.
Yes. All right. We need this to happen right now.
Yeah. It doesn't match the character, but it kind of matches the character.
Terry Crews would be
Here's
perfect.
My favorite one in this list.
I love it.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk as Snarf. I freaking love that. I love Alan Tudyk. He's so good. I've loved him since Serenity, Firefly. He's fantastic. He's Resident Alien. I mean, he's just everything he touches. I think I try to watch. He's a great actor. And then William Dafoe as Mumra.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there isn't anybody else for that role.
Right. Especially when he's like in the mummy form.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah,
So are we gonna make William Dafoe big and buff when he gets powers of?
I guess they'd have to CGI him up when he gets into that Mumra form.
Yeah.
You
I have
know,
to have like a
have him-
bodysuit
yeah,
or something he wears.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
They actually have I'm sure it's a made for privately made, but there's actually a
trailer.
trailer for it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. That was really good.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, it's a good trailer. So I don't know. I'd be hyped for a live action movie. So I would be hyped for. We're always talking about live action, but a lot of these IPs, I wouldn't be opposed to a really good animated movie of them either. Along the lines of like a DC animation type thing where they're doing his full length movies, fully animated. I would love that too. I like the idea of a live action, but I would go see a fully animated one as well.
As long as they don't have the animations of ThunderCats Roar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now ThunderCats,
Yeah,
the
those
2011, I'm okay with that animation. That animation was pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I mean,
I
but
like-
the original Lion was supposed to be like 6'9".
Yes.
And the 2011 Lion he looked almost teenage in his build. He had a very
Actually,
youthful.
Panthro, that was the tall one.
Yeah, he's taller, but but he was originally. But they're all supposed to be huge. They're supposed to be these larger than life.
Yeah.
Figures.
If they do an animated adaptation, I want the same studio that did Castlevania to do this. That would be perfect.
Yeah, I can see that. And another studio I would really like for them too is the D&D one on Amazon Prime.
Oh, Critical Role, same one from that.
Critical Role.
Okay.
Yeah. The what is the name of their show? There's no Critical Roles. That's the podcast. What's the name of the show?
Oh,
I can't think of it.
brain farts.
I know.
I guess even the animation for X-Men 97 I really like too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I thought that was very well done.
Vox Machina.
There you go. There it is.
That animation, the Vox Machina, is top notch.
Yeah.
I that's my favorite right now. It's my favorite animation style that they have out there. So there's a lot of good options.
I've been watching Solo Leveling. The animation on that show is mind-blowing. It is amazing. I'm looking forward to them finishing the season out. They got to a really big point. It's just so good. It's so good. I can't even. You have to watch it. So good. Solo Leveling. Yeah.
I really love anime style animation, but I find that whenever they take a Western IP and animate it like anime, they make the story anime. You don't have to do that. Like, did you ever see the anime versions of like Wolverine? And they had an anime cartoon for like Wolverine and a lot of the X-Men.
Yeah, there's an anime X-Men cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah, and they made. I don't know why you have to have the Eastern influence storyline just to have that animation. Not that I mind Eastern influence storylines; I love them, but I just like them in their own IPs. And I want to see the X-Men, not the X-Men. What if they were from, Japan or wherever? Not, like I said, it's good, but it's just I would just kind of like to see an actual like story based in off the comics animated with anime.
Yeah.
Instead of it having to have that attached story influence. It would just be kind of you don't have to make it an anime to use Japan animation. Yeah. So just kind of like to see that.
I can kind of get where they would want to localize it for the people to watch, because it's probably made specifically to air in Japan too. So I kind of get them doing the stories like that to a point, but I can understand what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. They are when the animation and when the people that animate it like that, they're going to be targeting a localized audience, which makes perfect sense. I hadn't really considered that before. I'm just kind of being selfishly American in my opinion there. So thanks for enlightening me. That makes perfect sense. I didn't really think about that. But but I just like their animation so much that I
Yeah,
just
no, I
kind of
get it. I
want
get it.
to see this, see the original story animated in that
I want
way.
to see
But it is
United
very
States
selfish.
politics and that being animated with X-Men. But not
Yeah,
like American politics, but like show the White House and Senate, but like no Trump or anything like that. Just like, Trask and, put all those guys in,
yeah, like just right. Have it based still in
based
the
on the
United States
comics. Yeah,
as they are based on the comics.
I get it.
But like I said, now that you say that, I feel like that's kind of short sighted because the animators would want to target their audience as well. They should. So, like I said, it's just very selfish opinion. I just want to see their excellent artwork
Yeah.
telling my local stories versus their local stories. It's horribly selfish of me. Now that the more I think about it, but
Is what
you
it
get what
is.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Oh man.
yeah, you've been enjoying. How much is that solo leveling? How much that is out?
So they have the entire first season, and then they're 8 episodes into the second season.
Uh,
They're almost done
yeah, I'd
with
like to
it.
try that. That's another one on my list. I have so many shows
You know,
to
there's
watch. And it's
That's
just
where I'm at.
there's so little that you can share about that show without spoiling stuff. But it's one of those that the action just keeps ramping up. The the stakes just keep amplifying. So that's the cool part of the show. Is it keeps you kind of glued to the seat by the seat of your pants.
nice. You know, you made me thinking about animation stuff. So, do you watch the Blue Eyed Samurai?
Negative.
Did you watch that series? That's another one that's just fantastic show, unbelievably fantastic. But the animation in that has a whole different kind of spin. It's got a different kind of style. It's very intense, and there's a gore level to it that's it's next level. But it's artistic,
Yeah.
not. It's kind of great. It's the like the black and white scene where only the blood is red kind of stuff. It's
Oh yeah.
almost has
Sin
a
City
Sin
vibe.
City. Yeah, exactly. But it's so at times, so that's a great series where they're actually taking away color to emphasize color, which is a cool tactic. But yeah, that one you should put that one on your watch list if you're enjoying those other ones. That one's fantastic. I think season 2 is coming out too.
Yeah.
So there's lots of neat twists in that one that you will personally enjoy too.
Nice.
In Blue Eyed Samurai.
Blue-eyed
But
samurai.
yeah, it's a good one. So yeah, I mean, but going back to that era of the ThunderCats and that type of thing, I do miss the simplicity of some of those
Yeah.
comics. They were very those cartoons. They were very black and white, and as a kid I just enjoyed the simplicity of those.
Yeah, because
And I kind of miss I almost miss the innocence of them in a way.
Yeah.
they're only 20-minute episodes, and a lot of the plots were about the same. Is all right, the Thundercats are going to get into something, or if they focus on a certain Thundercat, that episode they get into something. Lion-O, Sword of Omens, Thundercats come save the day, and a lot of the plots were similar to in those days. Like Silverhawks, very similar. Power Rangers was very similar.
Mm-hmm. Voltron
and Voltron, yeah.
They stuck to formula and they didn't progress the plot too much.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it.
They did. And even the like you were waiting for him to thunder throughout the whole episode. just like the Voltron was it the shining sword, formally, he's going to cut the cut the other mech in half, it's and they change it up in later episodes, like suddenly there's a new weapon. It's just to kind of, so they're not doing the exact rinse repeat every time.
Yeah.
But
it's like Power Rangers was always literally like a moral thing comes up. Okay, well, they fight petty monsters now. And then they address the moral thing again, but now there's a bad guy associated with whatever that moral is. Then they turn into they fight more putties. They fight the bad guy. It grows. They fight the bad guy when it's grown, and then they beat them and they wrap it all up, closing that moral and explaining why you shouldn't eat after 10 o'clock at night or whatever the thing
They were
is.
practically fables.
Yeah.
Practically fables. Yeah,
Oh man, I can't believe I can't believe Acid Reflex Man came for us again.
I tried. It's gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I've tried so many times to like the Power Rangers, and outside of the very chauvinistic part of me enjoying the Pink Ranger,
We all did.
That's like the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah.
Because the choreography is so bad. It's just so bad. Like, I don't mind comedic or lighthearted choreography. I mean, they take like Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, or Xena. The choreography in those was horrific, but it knew it was horrific and it owned its horrificness. You know what I mean? It owned it. It made it a thing. It was almost like a comedic art to it. There was a physical comedy. But the stuff that was going on when they're like fighting the putties, I'm like, oh, it's just bad. And being a martial arts enthusiast, it really is like, oh no, like who did they hire to choreography? Who did they choreograph for that? I just, oh
man. My favorite thing from the Power Rangers was the Power Rangers video game back in the day. I think it was a Super Nintendo game, maybe.
Yes, it was.
Really?
Oh, that was fun.
That game was so freaking good. Oh my
it was
gosh.
fun.
It was one of those beat 'em ups, and you have like, I think you could play 4 players if you had the splitter on it. But yeah, it's a beat 'em up game. You just run around there. I think summon your
like
Megazord for the
are you
little
working
bit
from left to right and being able to move a little bit in and out?
Yep.
What, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Okay. Huh.
It's more like X-Men when you're comparing the two. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
More like
X-Men
what?
for Sega Genesis always be my favorite.
That's a really good one. Sega Genesis X-Men was amazing. That one was more of a platformer though than a beat 'em
It was,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard as heck.
Oh yeah.
And it was hard. Especially when you got to reset your Sega Genesis at the Mojo level.
That's hilarious. It's hilarious how they do that stuff. With Metal Gear, you have to switch your controller to controller port 2 against the one boss. Because the boss, like, one of their gimmicks is they're like, oh, now you have to use your other controller port. And so you have to like run over to your console and switch it if you didn't know about that. The boss also will read your memory card and tell you like, oh, I see you like to play Castlevania.
That's funny.
But like the player doesn't know that it's reading the memory card to get that. So it says that and they're like, how'd you know that?
That's great. Because those guys, that game's reminded me of like it was Metroid-esque in the way it played, the Genesis one, or even Castlevania. It had that same kind of Metroid, Castlevania. What's the other one that kind of played like that? I don't know. I'm blanking on it, but there's those kind of.
I'd say a lot of games, a lot of parallels to Sonic in a way because of how fast paced it was. I mean, well, you had the Sega Genesis with the Blast processor. Or whatever they were advertising it as.
We were talking about the simplicity of some of the shows back then, and villains, whatnot. You got a new villain, you attack a new villain. Going back to the ThunderCats, there was a villain that showed up a couple times. I don't know if you guys remember Safari Joe. He was the bounty hunter, and he, regular you'll love this one, but Dead by Daylight, the gunslinger. That's basically how he looked.
Oh, really?
He was, he was a safari outlook, but he had the big gun, and he was always bounty hunting, going after prey cats, big cats, little cats. But he came to.
Oh, he was like a poacher.
Yes. So he came to Third Earth for the ThunderCats. They were supposed to be his trophy prize.
Oh, okay.
I remember that now. He had the big nets. He was trying to capture them, and
I
remember that episode now.
Oh. Yeah, and he made an appearance like 2 or 3 times, and I enjoyed him every time. Because they always had like that Australian accent coming in trying to catch the Thundercats, and
Yeah.
Safari
He
Joe.
comes in
Yeah,
trying to
it's
get people to take him
Safari
seriously
Joe.
with an Australian accent.
That series. Every name in that entire series was just campy. I mean, Lion-O, Tigra. They're just bad, but they're so bad. Like again, they just owned it. Like let's be not creative at all with these names. Let's do the most basic, in your face, funny. Little kid named it. You know, like that's what a little kid would do. You know, a little kid has a toy lion. He calls him Lion-O. So it was
Ultraman, Monkeyan.
yeah.
They're like we need to
Aquaman.
get somebody with a heroic voice. What? Jimmy, you've done the weather before. Oh yes, I've done the weather before.
You know, but again, all that era. I mean, all of those cartoons, everything from G.I. Joe to He-Man. I mean, their naming convention was hilariously bad. But I think by intent. I think it was by design supposed to be, you know, Manny faces, Beast Man. You know, I mean, they're just Battle Cat. I mean, you name it. They're the most little kid named, and I think that was probably targeting that because there was all of these shows. Well, more so like the He-Man and stuff like that was character based or figurine based.
Yeah,
You know, like G.I. Joe and the Transformers. I mean, it was literally a money grab for the characters. As much as the IP is beloved to me, it's a money grab for the toys.
Yep.
So the little kids play with it, and they want that memorable name. They're not going to they're never going to remember the name of some. You make it some kind of cool, whatever. They're not going to remember that, but they'll remember Lion-O or, you know.
Let's see if either one of you recall this gem from the internet. Do you recall the pork chop sandwiches PSA for G.I. Joe?
Pork chop sandwiches.
No.
Pork chop sandwiches PSA. I don't.
I am going to edit part of the footage in here, but pork chop sandwiches, basically it's a dub of the original like PSAs for G.I. Joe, and it's the house is on fire and the guy just runs in, oh, pork chop sandwiches, and it's just a big spoofy kind of you know what I'm talking about.
Line of those.
Yeah, yep. G.I. Joe.
Yeah. My favorite one is the kids on the ice. Did you see the ones with the kids on the ice? Hey, get off my yard. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Do you know my mom? Oh, I mean, they're hilarious.
They're really good.
Hilarious. Yeah. I forgot the pork chop sandwiches. What was that fire guy? He was like one of my favorite guys that breaks in there but he was, what's his name?
My other favorite meme videos from that area was the Juggernaut bitch videos where we just have, bitch, I do not care. I am the Juggernaut, bitch.
Juggernaut, bitch.
So, barbecue. Yeah, his name was Barbecue. But I googled G.I. Joe Fire Guy, and the first video that came up was G.I. Joe Fire, that outtake. You were mentioning. It's literally the first video, the first thing that came up.
Yep.
But yeah, those dubbed PSAs were great. And the PSAs were always my favorite part of that. You know, now you know. Knowing is half the battle. But yeah, you've got those parodies. You should, between the parodies and the outtakes for ThunderCats, you should definitely throw those in there.
ThunderCats, I'm going too high.
They're hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Too good to not. For people, if people haven't experienced them, people need to experience them. It's good stuff. But yeah,
Called the ThunderCats before. Shut up, you fuck.
Thinking about an episode of ThunderCats when Lion-O was on the ship with all the different with the captain, and he jumped into the water. Well, they started shooting fireballs into the water, and it started heating up where it was actually boiling Lion-O. That's amazing. They just shoot a fireball into the sea.
I love that you can generate enough heat with fireballs into the ocean or some sea.
A huge body of water.
sure did. They were boiling Lion-O.
That's funny.
Save
Snarf
some
came
people
to
a
the
lot on their
rescue.
electricity bill, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there were so many good points to that, and the simplicity. We'll go back to that. Is they were only 20-minute episodes, so they had to do so much in 20 minutes. So they got to the point really fast.
Get the message out, get it done.
Yeah. Yeah,
I miss
those
stuff like
episodes
that.
don't feel short.
No, they don't. No.
And that's what's impressive about the storytelling, the writing, to make a 20-minute episode feel like it has a solid beginning, middle, end, a message through it, some satisfaction of how they get from their goal, whether it be the enemy or the environment, whatever their goal was. That's quality writing to be able to do that and capture a little bit of characterization and put a soul in these characters too.
Yeah.
I think the writing is as much as people enjoy it, they don't give enough credit to just what they're able to accomplish in a 20-minute time period.
Yeah, they kind of, maybe it was just about the time period, but Star Trek was really like that too, where they focus on a different character each episode.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Wile E. Kit and Cat episode. Maybe it's a Panthro episode, Lion-O episode, Snarf episode. And I think that was really cool how they would just focus on a different character each week or each day.
Yeah, it didn't feel like the Lion-O show. I mean, he was the leader, but it wasn't the Lion-O show. It was the ThunderCats show.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while they focused on the villains too. They would have a villain episode.
I think there was a Monkey Man episode, wasn't there?
There was one. I do remember there was a Vulture Man episode where he had to go to this one cave or a different distant land to get something he needed for one of his contraptions. As far as Monkey, and I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
I can't remember at the moment.
Now that you say it, I might be actually thinking about the Vulture episode, because when I said Monkey Man, I kind of my memory is betraying me, but I looked up Monkey, and in the episode wasn't Monkey, and it was absolutely probably Vulture Man episode.
Okay, yeah, Vulture Man had his own episode, and the ThunderCats had, maybe they showed up at the end. It wasn't much, but he kind of went solo because, hey, my compatriots, they're idiots. I'm going to focus on my own. And it's a good episode. I mean, they're all good episodes. I absolutely loved all of them.
Yeah.
All 100.
Yeah.
So plus.
I've actually contemplated getting the ThunderCats tattoo 1,000,000 times.
Oh yeah.
Just getting the stamp. I've thought about having a segment of my body with circular symbols, like the Rebel symbol, the Decepticons, Autobots. Just putting a row of my childhood symbols from cartoons somewhere, like maybe back down the back of my arm or something like that. Just to make them like silver dollar sized or $half sized, and just have a row of the symbols. That would be kind of cool. Be kind of a neat.
It'd be unique.
Yeah.
Definitely be unique, and
that'd be kind of neat. And then I could just pay for one at a piece. $50, $60 a pop, and just get one every so often, make it an annual tradition or whatever. Add one to the list. We'll put them on the side of my head.
There you go.
Go up one side and then go up the other.
Yeah, right. No, not happening. But
yeah, I've always thought about getting a tattoo. I'm too indecisive. I don't know what I ultimately want. There's so many cool things. I don't think I'd regret it, but it's just one of those things. It's like, of all the things right now, I guess the only thing you can do is start, right? So you just find one and pick it, right?
I have the wrong shirt on right now, but my large tattoo, it goes down my arm most of the way, it goes down my back a fair amount. I literally went to my artist, and he got out a magic marker and he drew on me until we liked it, and then tattooed over the drawing.
Nice.
It's kind of like you know what a myrmidon is from gladiatorial times. They were the ones that were armored on one side of their body, had a spear and a net.
Yeah.
I wanted a kind of like a blade like armorish feel to that section of just the left side of my body.
Yeah.
That was just the vibe I liked. So I had him draw stuff, and we just called custom. It was Dave at Atom Bomb Tattoo. Throw him out. A little plug. He does phenomenal, massive pieces. He's a great artist. but Dave Churcourt at Atom Bomb Tattoo. But that's the way I like to create art is around my body at the time. Now I'm a little less about it. I just want more. But the problem is what I want is so big. It's expensive. Like
Yeah.
I want a full sleeve Phoenix on my right arm. And we're talking thousands of dollars. The idea is to have a Phoenix rising up from an ashen human form, falling away from it. So it's like a Phoenix being born from the ashes of myself, of a human, rather than just being reborn from his own egg or his own corpse. But like I said, the money involved in that, I'm gonna have to do the $60 little animation line.
That's cool too.
Before I get into that.
Both ideas are cool. Wayne, you don't have any tattoos, right?
No tattoos.
No tattoos for Dark Wayne.
And I don't think I've been close. I mean, like you were saying, too indecisive. There's been a few. The ThunderCats I would love to.
Wayne,
there was like a Wolverine one that went through like my chest.
Yeah.
And I've seen those before. I'm like, man, that would look really cool. But it's like, what if my chest gets bigger over the course of time and it looks weird? And I don't know. Things like that go through my head.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to care in the nursing home, Wayne, and your body size hasn't changed significantly. So I think you'll be fine.
That.
But
Wolverine's claws are starting to droop a little.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Who cares? Everybody looks like a melted ice cream cone. It's whatever.
Right. That people say that to me all the time. How are you going to feel like that when you're how it looks when you're old? I'm like, I'm not going to give a shit. None of me's necessarily going to look good. The tattoo's the least of my concern.
You know, Wayne, I have concerns, Wayne. If you got the ThunderCats tattoo, right? If you decided to go out and get that tattoo, I think it would spark something up in you. And the next time I saw you in a couple months, you would have like neck tattoos, like everything. You'd be decked out like.
Oh, it's addictive. It is. The tattoo convention is in Cleveland right now, this weekend.
You're like, and oh yeah, this is my Gambit powering up Wolverine to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I would. I can't even go to it though. I enjoy those conventions. I can't go to it because I'm going to get work done if I go, and I don't want to fork out the cash right now.
That's fair.
So. I remember at episode 5 of X-Men '97, Gambit's there. And he's been stabbed, and he just smirks.
Yeah.
It's a perfect image. He's got a little drip of blood. He smirks. That make for a perfect tattoo, and you put, remember it.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
James Gambit, remember it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah,
you're right. ThunderCats, and then all of a sudden Gambit, Wolverine.
Yeah, you would just start getting them. And what would the wife think, do you think?
Oh, who knows? She'd probably hate it if it was comic book or related at all.
Fair enough.
It's already done. It's there. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
There's a joke in there somewhere about having the ThunderCats tattoo and wondering how the wife feels about it, and you doing the ThunderCats.
This is how I feel about it. Thunder.
Thunder.
That's great.
That's hilarious. Oh shoot!
It's been fun, guys. ThunderCats. I've been looking forward to this podcast for some time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good one.
This did not disappoint. You guys are awesome. I had fun.
Yeah. I'm glad I took some time to watch some of these ThunderCats episodes because it's one of those series that I don't really remember. So when people talk nostalgic about it, and, get into the series, I'm like, it's one of those things you can feel a little left out if you don't really know too much about it.
Right.
So hopefully all our nerds are armed with a little bit of knowledge of Lion-O and some of the ThunderCats that they can BS their way for a conversation if they haven't experienced the ThunderCats, but check them out.
Yeah, comment on our channel. Yeah, comment. We'll answer. We'll take suggestions. I mean,
we're desperate for your attention. Please write to us.
Yeah.
Anything.
Tell us what you like. So, but yeah, good episode, guys. I really enjoyed this talk. It was.
Absolutely.
It filled me with nostalgia. I'm kind of glad I didn't watch some of them, to be honest, because I liked feeling this nostalgia with you, like remembering the things and hitting, triggering. It was kind of nice to have that just kind of brought up right here with you guys. It was kind of cool.
I actually like the look on your guys' faces when I brought up Safari Joe. Both of you, you could tell. Google, where's Safari Joe? Like, I got to remember him, and I was like, this is really cool. This is how I like it,
Yeah. It's good stuff. That's exactly what I get a lot out of that with this format we've got here.
Fun. I like Safari Joe. We got the Death Slinger Safari Joe.
Exactly.
Love it.
I knew you'd appreciate that.
All right. Well, nerds, hey, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you're following if you're not. And check us out on YouTube and all major podcasting formats. Nerds, we're out.
All right. Thanks, guys. Like and subscribe.